Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Jet Boardman, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind successful startups, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future expansion. Today, we're excited to have Sylmia Britt, the CEO founder of We Thrive Above, joining us. Sylmia is going to be sharing more about her founding story, giving us a glimpse into her future plans for growth. So let's go and jump right in. Sylmia, welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you so much for having me, Jed. I really appreciate you having me and featuring my business.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on. So let's just go right back to the beginning. Can you tell us what specifically inspired you to start We Thrive Above?
Okay, great. Around 6 years ago is when I actually started my company. I was stuck. I was so stuck in my career. I was lost in the networking. You're going after one event to one event, and you're looking at your professional growth just stagnating and wondering, like, how did I hit the glass ceiling?
Mm.
I actually got a coach, which was really great, and had never thought about spending the money and making that investment in myself. And so I made that commitment. I cleared my schedule. I invested the time. And what I realized was that I was blocking myself. And that spurred me to really understand that there were others like me who were facing those same hurdles, and they needed coaching in a very simple and bite-sized way to help them get from point A to point B, digestible, and really in a fun way that makes it a little bit easier for them to move through those hurdles that they may have in their professional journey.
Got it. Okay, so it's kind of like a self-discovery thing. You
It
had to do it,
was
and you said, let me help bring it to other people.
absolutely.
All right, I love that. Now you're going on 6 years of your business, right?
Yeah.
So can you walk us through what the evolution of your offer has been? What did you start with, and what do you do?
Yes. I started with very small coaching. I was afraid still, right? I hadn't honed in on my strategies. I didn't have my collateral together. It was really difficult for me to communicate some of those performance goals that people want to see when they exit out of coaching. But over time, I was able to hone that. And what I realized is that my professional career, I spent over 18 years in California State Service. And so I had this breadth of knowledge, business knowledge, and an MBA. And I was wondering why I wasn't helping small businesses as well. So I was able to pivot into the small business space and help them with bidding on government contracts and applying for grants, as well as reframing their services so that they lean them out like government style. So it's really lean and that they can attract more revenue. So making those changes, but throughout other kind of business models. And it also helped me to launch the website, wethriveabove.com, which has an AI powered tool there. If you subscribe, which is a free subscription, there's lots of articles, tools, courses, but there's an AI tool there called the Empowerment Mentor. And you can ask it anything. If you're stuck and your boss is getting on your nerves, you can take that email, put it into that Empowerment Mentor, and it'll give you a softer email to respond back to them. If you're wondering how to ask a proposal, how to shape up a proposal for a pitch, it can help you do that. So it takes the place of me if you're not able to pay for coaching. So I wanted to have my services as accessible as possible to a larger audience so that people can make changes regardless of their income level.
Okay, great. So you're really just about getting people help they need no matter where they're at. Obviously,
Yep,
coaching is going to be a lot higher level of help, but you still want to provide resources for them.
absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, you kind of touched on some of your background. Can you give us a little bit more to your background before launching this business and how that experience influenced the way you approach this?
Absolutely. So, interesting. I'm a small town girl. Sacramento is a pretty intimate town, but it's a big town in terms of like lots of things happening from
Hmm.
politics and businesses, large corporations. So you get the feel of both. I grew up, born and raised here, and went to Sacramento State. Stingers up, go at. I love my school. And so I went to Sac State and got a BA in social science. And I was going to be a teacher, and I was like, oh, can't do that. And I really looked into civil service because I wanted to help, I wanted to change my community, and I wanted to grow California in a major way. And so I spent that time in various roles, procurement, and again, going up through executive level. Currently, I hold a role as an executive project manager at a state department, and just doing a whole sea of kind of different projects. I got my MBA along the way,
Mm.
and took a slew of classes in organizational development. So I was really able to round out my experience, especially around grant management and things of that nature, with tactical experience as well as the education.
Got it. Got it. That's incredible. So a lot of different things playing into what brought you here.
Yes.
I like it. Okay. Well, many founders face a moment where they feel like they're going to give up. Did you have one of those moments? And if so, what allowed you to push through it?
Oh my goodness. How many moments were there? Like, was it last week or I think there are going to be nothing but starts and stops, but having the resiliency to know that that is a natural flow of things. Um, with anything, you're going to have to allow yourself to embrace the lulls, the failures, the mistakes, and allow them to just be monuments of your wisdom. And so that's how I look at things. I've had lots of failures, especially along COVID when things just kind of fell apart and trying to figure all that, how to build your business back up and how to change your identity and your branding. And that was very difficult for me. But through that, I was really able to learn the lessons around resiliency that I'm still applying today as I go through new challenges and hurdles that continue to challenge my ability to meet them as a business owner.
Got it. Got it. So lots of, I mean, as you do your coaching, right? You've had your own experiences where you want to stop. How do you help your people you're coaching when they feel like they get to those points?
A friend of mine just reminded me of this recently. She said, her name's Regina Lawless, and she's an author. And she said, don't forget that you signed up for this mission. And
Mm.
in my coaching, I say something very similar in that same effect, but when she said it, it was just spot on perfect. And it's true. It's a reminder of bringing yourself back to your past self and acknowledging that your past self believed in you, your past self surrendered to this change, and then just keeping focus in that as you continue to advance and fall out of your identity of change, to recenter back to that past self. Because I think that that's what we forget along the way. You just get so despondent that you forget, oh, I said it was going to be hard. I said this was going to be painful. I knew this was going to hurt, and I knew I was going to have to sacrifice all these things. I mean, it's just really just surrendering to that truth and allowing the pain to wash over you and to find that new step. But that's what a good coach, a good mentor does. They kind of put their hand behind your back and steady you as you go through those evolutions in your own journey.
I love that. I love that. Well, kind of going into challenges you faced. What's one misconception people often have about your industry that you'd like to address?
Ooh. Um, I think it's a social media thing. There's a lot of systems, coaching systems, coaching systems, coaching systems. I interact with a lot of coaches, folks who are passionate about changing lives. And I think when folks hear coaching these days, it's often been trivialized. And when they take the extra step to get to know a coach intimately and understand the benefits of what they're providing and what they're expecting to see at the end, that is much different than some of those kind of more passive systems that are out on the market that are like $100, $200, and they're
Right.
saying we can change you real fast. And it's like nothing happens fast. You did not get this way overnight. You are not going to change overnight. You can read what they're giving you all day, but what I have for you is going to be a bond that we're working together. We're going to break some chains within you. We're going to build some things back up. And I
Mhm.
think separating those two kind of ideas of coaching and models of coaching, and there's a valid way to approach that as well. But the majority of the people that are actually seeking coaching, they need more intensive support
Mhm.
in order to make the things happen that they want to see. And so sometimes it's just like, oh, I have to tell people, no, I don't have a system. There are courses, but there's a lot more to it.
Right, right. A lot more of that one-on-one. You're with them.
Exactly.
You're not just giving them a cookie cutter approach to it.
Absolutely.
I love that. All right. Well, can you walk us through how your business generates revenue today? Like, what is the core offer that you give, and like how you decide pricing, things like that with your clients?
Sure. Pricing is hard, but my revenue right now is centered mainly on small businesses, and
Mhm.
doing a lot of that work to help them do the business development work, business plans, strategic plans, grant writing, uh, applying for bids, realigning their services, writing proposals, different things like that. And the difficulty is that I recognize that businesses are, I know they always say small business, but there's many micro small businesses, which is an actual term used by the federal government. Many micro. We're talking about people who aren't clearing like 250, $1,000 a year in their business.
Mhm.
And there's so many different models. So I try to be very mindful of their revenue model when I do intakes with businesses to understand where they at, and I do price based upon what the business is able to pay. So that is a sliding scale based upon what is being asked, and then also the revenue that they're able to generate.
Right, right. Okay. Okay, great. And so when you're working with these clients right now, what does like how does acquiring that client look like for you? Is it,
Sure.
do you have a specific channel or method you follow? Do you filter a certain way? Like how do you know if someone's a good fit for you?
Oh, sure. So I do, most of us do outreach in various methods. I am no different. We've got LinkedIn, social, direct business outreach, et cetera, lists. For me, it is important for me to do the intake. So I have folks that I work with on my team, but I like to do intakes to see if it's a good fit because
Mhm.
I'm a human being and I'm not going to stop being human.
Yeah.
I built this business, so I'd like for it to work for me too. And while I'm
Right.
very much in a mentality of servant leadership, I still know that um, my humility only goes so far. I want somebody who's going to be kind to me, kind to my team, all those good things. And that when I look at them, I see the change that they're able to make. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt
Mhm.
what they're saying. And it's almost like a mini lie detector test. It's 30 minutes and we're talking and I'm learning about you. And I really am determining. And I will say no. And I have said no, because as my mother would say, all money and good money. Just you
Yeah,
can't take it all.
got it. So as you're filtering, right, and you have like that human connection. You mentioned you want to work with small businesses, you want to have that connection. How do you find the people to work with? Do you like, are you going through LinkedIn? Are you just running ads? What do you do to find those clients?
Well, I can give you the secret tip if you'd like. He's like, wait a minute, what's the secret tip? Well, I think a lot of folks are sleeping on all the business registries that are fully vetted, right? So there's lots of
Mhm.
business registries that are open, public, and fully vetted with thousands of businesses. And because I worked in government, I'm like, oh, businesses are listed here, and then they're listed here. And so I'm able to mine those business listings based upon industry, what bids they've won. So I know, oh, you just want to bid for $3 million. Okay, well, I can help you do this or do that. So
Right.
it's a little bit easier for me to navigate some of those channels, but I very much advise people to go to their local state, city, whatever municipality, go to their vendor portal. There's often a vendor listing. They like a lot of collaboration, and you can
Mhm.
leverage those listings in order to do some B2B outreach.
Got it. Oh, that's smart. Yeah, that is a secret if you want to call it that. So for you right now, what is your biggest bottleneck to growth? Is it getting more people? Is it converting them? Is it fulfillment capacity? Like where would you say that that bottleneck is?
I think right now for me in the recent, well, it's been a couple of weeks, right? But in the last couple of weeks, folks are scared to bid on government contracts. I'm going to be perfectly honest. And so
Hmm.
there's just been a shift in that. But I always find that whenever there's these changes, there's always opportunity. So I never look at the shifts in terms of, oh no, things have changed and that's going to reduce my ability to generate revenue, I'm actually thinking, okay, well, then where are they looking to work at, right? So changing the scope a little bit, changing the space to respond to some of those, and also reaching out to folks to go, actually, the government never stops spending money ever, ever, ever. So why would you stop pursuing that? And really encouraging businesses to see what's out there, because if there's a host of people who just got scared and don't want to bid,
Mhm.
then that means that you've just moved up in the line. And so
Right,
it's like, yeah, like take your shot at it at some government contracts now.
right, right. That's smart. All right. So if you had to identify one thing that if
Mhm.
you could solve would make the biggest impact on your business growth right now, what would it be?
Oh, accountability
For you or for the clients?
for clients. That's what I mean by the coaching fit. Accountability is a real thing for me.
Uh-huh.
You go to a doctor, to be healed, but they can't heal you all the way. You got to go do the rest when you get
Right.
home. Healing's a process. We're only facilitating growth. Like any coach that tells you, I'm going to fix you, you're going to, no, I'm going to facilitate your growth. And this is how we'll do it together. And I think the one thing I could just change magically, and I mean magic wand, I would say if you put down a dollar, you mean it in terms of accountability. And a lot of folks will put their money up and then expect for the magic to happen.
Mhm.
And the magic is within them. Like there's nothing that I can do on my own that we need you for it. So it's really like making folks own what they want to do. And I think that's just a motivation issue a long time. A lot of folks will just they think it's a pay to play and you can build so much, but they've got to carry it.
Right. Right. All right. Well, kind of moving on to the growth, which is going to tie into what we just kind of talked about. What are your top priorities for growing your business in the next 6 to 12 months? Obviously, we can't change the accountability of the client side. So for you, what are you focused on?
Um, I think I'm working with a couple of folks right now to really expand their brand reach and to launch a couple of other kind of like community sets. And I
Mhm.
think that is where a lot of energy of mine will be put in the next, I would say 6 months. I'm starting one kind of like event community where we can grow businesses and just have that shared networking space. But I think that's what a lot of people are looking towards now, at least in my community, Jet, or my business community. Um, they're saying, actually, there's not a place for me. Let me just go build it, right?
Mhm.
And I think that the reality is people are 4.99, 5.99 memberships, and that's not it. I'm not just looking for a membership model. I actually want to like have events and do all these things that
Mhm.
are tied to that community. And that's what a lot of business owners are really starting to do so that they can have those add-ons after, right? I get
Right.
you in the door with this, and then here are your add-ons afterwards.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So is there a specific revenue target you're aiming for, or is there a key driver that you're focused on to get that growth?
You know what? I just started the business planning on it and I have some numbers. Really, what I'm thinking is that I'm starting with one community. It's 20 women, and I've like got it kind of like
Mhm.
I've got to like nail down, dialed in. Mine is always proof of concept. I don't want to, I never want to start anything and you have like a mild experience. I want it to be so fancy, so polished, so perfect that you're like, oh my
Right.
goodness, I can't believe this is what we did. And so for me this year for me at least, is to make it perfect for these 24 women, and then really expand it out to other markets after that.
Okay, so start with the 20 women first, then make more after.
Perfected. I just want to get as close to no one's perfect, get as close as possible.
Right. Right. Well, if you had unlimited resources, what would
Mhm.
you implement or change immediately to accelerate the growth? Like meaning manpower, money, they're all unlimited. What would you change first?
Sure, I would definitely, of course, the budget is always going to marketing. Can we not just put the whole budget to marketing and call it a day? I have so much experience in operations and admin that that's the best part. It's really just having all that community in different spaces. So
Mhm.
building out another set of 100 women in this state and that state that I'd like to. That takes a lot of cultivation. You can do it naturally through existing groups, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, what have you, sororities, fraternities. I mean, you can go down the litany of lists, but
Right.
really having folks that are of the same mindset, culture, all that good stuff so that they just gel, that's hard.
Yeah.
So finding, I would pay folks to do it marketing wise. Now I'm leveraging other clients that I have across the nation in order to do the other model though.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So with that, right, talking about the growth and resources, obviously getting more people in. How do you see your industry evolving in the next coming years, and how are you positioning yourself for that change?
Um, I I actually see a lot of coaches merging, a lot of businesses merging in order to survive in the next couple of years. Things are going to get naturally tough. Again, I work in government, so I hear about how tough things are now,
Hmm.
um, often. And I think that it carries over into business. And, the climate for business always change. And when we start to get into this, again, inflationary stage and things are shrinking and they're shrinking,
Hmm.
these are the items that personal coaching goes out, right? And business coaching kind of goes out too. And then they start to look at what they can actually afford from consultancy and they kind of drill it
Right.
down to very slim. And so it's just really just holding on to whatever's going to be out there. Again, diversifying your business and doing more of that B2B. Find someone that you can link up with, and then either they're a long-term client, like really long-term, because
Hmm.
and I think the real model is either joining or staff augmentation. I always offer myself up as staff augmentation because maybe you don't want to learn how to do it. Maybe you just want me to do it.
Right.
And I think a lot of coaches are going to have to, who gave up their 9 to 5, are going to have to dig back in and learn how to do the work again.
Right. So moving from like a done with you to a done for you type model.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So for you, right, and this might be a little bit redundant, but for you, as you're looking at your business overall, what is currently preventing you from scaling faster, and how are you addressing those challenges?
Well, one runs track and the other one plays soccer. So I have a beautiful 14-year-old.
It's a great answer. It's a great answer.
My 14-year-old daughter, she's gorgeous. And then my 7-year-old daughter, gorgeous as well. Both of them are athletic, good students. And so for me, it's about prioritizing a growth that holds my family in a way that makes sense, right? I
Hmm.
want for when they look at me and my business, they see the joy of what I'm able to bring to others. I don't want stress or I don't want them to confuse what I'm doing as something toxic. And I think that's when a lot of business owners are like scaling too fast, trying to break
Right,
the mold, get the money.
right.
And for me, I know that because of my ethos and my consulting model, it's Christian based. I know that what I'm doing will return when it's time to return. So
Mhm.
I scale when it's time to scale.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. So we're gonna go into the rapid fire round, and this is just three questions back to back for you to leave your advice on the listeners. Okay.
Okay.
So first one, what's one tool or resource that's been a game changer for your business?
My mentor, I have a few mentors. I know people want to use Chat GPT to go faster, and I know it's be like, oh, say AI, human touch. There's nothing like good decision making and having someone to bounce ideas off of. And you can find a million tools that do the same thing. So it's not really going to be a business
Hmm.
tool. It's having that one person who's going to check your BS, make you, dig in, make you lean in, make you refreshed, knows how to lift your spirits. That's more valuable than anything.
Hmm. So the human touch is the biggest thing.
Oh,
It
for
shows
sure.
there's someone to work with. I
For
love
sure.
that. All right, second one here. What's the best piece of advice you've received about scaling a business?
I remember asking, okay, but when am I supposed to scale when I hadn't even gone a little bit yet?
Right.
And he said, if you have to ask, you're not ready. And that so I realized, yeah, I'm not ready. And so, really holding space for that to say, you will know when you are ready. It'll be very clear how organized you are, how easy it is. When you're ready to scale, it won't be a question of how am I going to pay for all these things. It'll be clear. Okay, well, I've got these orders that are going to come in and this invoice.
Hmm.
So I think when you're in that state of preparedness, you really don't wonder when you're ready to scale.
That's great. So if you have to ask, you're not ready.
True.
That last one here. What advice would you give to a founder who's just starting their journey?
Get it out of your head, write it down. It doesn't become real until you write it down. Um, you can't sell something to an investor that you've just blah, 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 blah. If it's a great idea, write it down, start making it come to
Mm,
fruition. But I think a lot of us get stuck in our head and our hearts and don't have the bravery to just expel to paper. But I feel that there's so much truth to actually writing it down. It helps you to pull it out, draw it out, and it makes it more real. Now you've got a physical manifestation of something that is in your heart to build. And so just having that bravery to take the next step from
mhm.
idea to fruition.
I love that. I love that. Write it down. I love
Yeah.
that. Well, that's an incredible place for us to end. Sylvia, it's been great having you on. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, your advice, and just your expertise with us and the listeners.
Thank you so much, Jet. This has been so much fun. I really appreciate how great this has been. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. You can also find more resources and insights at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their sales and marketing strategies through world-class systems and playbooks. Until then, keep climbing, and we'll see you on the next one.